What's up guys, Nasser coming at you with another Project LV, and this one is about the... I'm forgetting how to say her name right now. It's the Kraken Priestess that they just showed off in their reaction video. That's probably going to come out today, as of today being the 2nd. I'm probably going to put this out later today. So this video is probably coming out to you on the 3rd, which is going to be... Hold on, give me a second. It's going to be on Wednesday. I'll try to get this out and have it ready to go out Wednesday. But basically, this is just the blog post to show off the development of this character. And in the last video, they showed us concept art, and they said this is where you can go to see like them talk a whole lot more about how the character came about, and just giving a lot more of a... what's the word I'm looking for here? Just giving a lot more of like a behind the scenes look of it, basically. Because basically, I'm gonna go through all the like opening bullet points. If y'all want to look at all of this, just go on their YouTube channel, or if you want me to if you want to just click in the description, I'll probably put the link to this right here, so you can just click on it right there. But definitely go on their YouTube channel and watch their video that they put out about the Dragon Priest, the Kraken Priestess. Illaoi, I think is how you say her name. I might have said that wrong. I literally just heard it like 5 minutes ago and I'm forgetting how to say it. But the narrative is, our goal with each champion is to not just deliver what players expect, instead is to reach higher and deliver what they deserve. And Illaoi is no different. Our work on narrative began during idea, but then Tian. So ideation is how I think you say that. I might be wrong. By defining Illaoi's core truths, who she's been, who is she now, and who she could be in Project L. Let me know if this is like an established League character that we're just bringing over, if this is just like a brand new character overall, because I don't know anything with League of Legends, so I don't know if this person is oh, okay, it says it right here, my bad, just didn't read far enough. Our goal was to answer one question: why is she a champion that we absolutely need to make? She was released in League of Legends nearly 7 years ago, where she's been a staple or nightmare on top laners ever since. We've also seen her overwhelm her enemies in League of Runeterra and save the world from ruination in Ruin King. So she is an established League character. Okay, so this isn't a brand new character like Rain Dog is with multiverses. Let me know down in the comments. Like I said, I don't keep up with League of Legends at all, so let me know down in the comments any characters that y'all would love to see come from League into this game. So the art, once narrative has given us a good understanding of who a champion is, we move into their visual direction. You can infuse so much into a champion when you know who they are, especially when we compare all of their visual representations, which Illaoi clearly wasn't like it. Yeah, no, she got a lot of a dope design. She got the ropes, she got the tattoos, I don't know what type of armor pieces to call these, but it's definitely giving me like a not a sailor, but I guess somebody that is at sea a lot with the ropes, because those like the ropes that would be on a ship. And this right here, with her, I'm assuming having a like somewhat Cthulhu inspired element to the character. I'm assuming that's where this like nautical vibe came from. But some of our champions lend themselves well to being altered quite a bit, whereas for others it wouldn't make sense for them to drastically change their appearance. When we started on Illaoi, it became clear she would be the latter. Yeah, this doesn't look like a character that you'd have to redesign a lot, because their design was too simple. She has a really iconic look: tall, muscular, and imposing. Definitely get all three of those. But more than that, she's joyful, spirited, and believes in challenging others to live their lives to the fullest. And all of these things need to be reflected in her appearance. That last part there, and believes in challenging others to live their lives to the fullest, that gives me Ren Goku vibes when they say lives their lives to the fullest. I fuck with that part though. So this is, I'm not assuming this is her final look, because this is still concept art with like her having her outfit changed differently. Maybe these are like different outfits that we'll be able to pick. I fuck with Which one of these do I fuck with the most? I'm gonna say I fuck with this one right here and this one. I like these two looks. I like her having her shoulders out, so she's fucking big, tall, and menacing, like they said. Yeah, those are my two favorite designs out of all those concept arts right there. Her clothing is very purposeful. She's not exactly the type to keep up with the latest rune-tearing fashion trends, so we decided to keep her outfit and color palette simple to what most players have come to associate with her, while alternating the blocking a little to make it fresh and capitalize on Project L's perspective and overall art style. For her weapon, to her braces, to her earrings, we put a ton of thought into the small changes we need to make her design, make sure she still felt true to her base form and league and her people. Okay, so this is the move I said where she might be like a close range character that also has the ability to zone, because I anticipate her swinging this thing around in close range, but also having some moves that go far and maybe even our projectiles. We also need to think about how it would move. To do this, we use something called movement studies. Fighting games are really dynamic, and in order to explore movement really fast in the early stages of development, our concept art drew Illaoi in various poses. Makes sense. Illaoi has extremely unique fighting style, a heavy golden idol, Elsa's idol, and spirit tentacles combined, so these movement studies help sort out some unknowns even more than if she were to use a sword or axe. Interesting that there would be some more unknowns even if she was using a sword or axe. You think those would be like the generic ones. We want to nail how her tentacles work and move, how her power is felt by her player, and absolutely how devastating it can be. Yeah, and this is like bought a kettlebell to explore her posing. Yeah, because you would need something heavy on the end and you'd be swinging around like her, so that gives you like an idea of how she would move, because obviously she'd be more muscular, but also the thing is heavier, so I'm assuming the heaviness of it is relative to her muscles, in the sense of she's not going to be swinging this around with one arm, you know. I mained Illaoi's top lane in, oh, this is the game design, okay. I mained Illaoi's top lane in League, so I know her gameplay very well and was super excited for her to be a project. I feel honored to be able to work on her design in our game. When we started the DNA phase for Illaoi, we did a deep dive into her lore and existing movements to find her core champion fantasy. We drew inspiration from all her iterations and even from watching players play Illaoi. We really wanted to grasp what makes her feel powerful. She is a strong muscular woman who attacks with a giant totem, so it makes sense she would hit with her own physical strength as opposed to hiding behind the powers of her god or magical abilities. The god or magical abilities coming from the totem or her herself, because I'm assuming the totem has some too. We also needed tentacles. I always got, okay, so it's the god that's probably in the totem. Naga Caboose is a tentacle sea monster, and there needed to be some aspect of that in her kit, but beyond empowering her attacks, it's not saying that anymore, also gives Illaoi the strength to steal her opponent's soul. Ooh, I wonder how that's gonna translate into gameplay. When we figuring out which part was the dominant power, we decided that Illaoi would be the source of power and that the god will have her back. So basically he's empowering her, especially when you take into account how effortlessly she was the giant totem. Yeah, so the god is using the totem as a way of giving her the power that he possesses. Okay, so her goals: fighting alongside her god the god is a consistent looming threat that Illaoi feels supported by an opponent's fear. Slow but always in motion. It's always moving. She punishes those who are motionless. This is one of her key beliefs. This is one of the key beliefs of her god, and we wanted to represent this in her gameplay, throughout her gameplay. So basically, I'm getting the sense that, yeah, with the very next overwhelming pressure, I'm feeling this is gonna be a rush down. she's gonna be slow, maybe like a Zebrolian fighters, but her attacks are gonna hit hard and may even have a little armor. Once Illaoi puts the opponent in a position where they get hit or need to block, she is relentless, forcing her opponents to make a move on her terms. So basically gonna be an overwhelming attack with her overwhelming power with her attacks, my bad. Illaoi is the powerhouse and the god has her back. Her physical strength is her main source of power, and the tentacles from her god are there to assist, not replace. The god is not the star of the show, okay? Simple and straightforward. Illaoi's power fantasy comes from heavy, simple, or semi-short hits, heavy, long hits, and simultaneous staggering hits from tentacles, but not from the complexity of managing the state of many entries or entities. Not a puppet master. So I was about to say, with what they were sounding like at first, sound like she could be a puppet master, saying that, you know, the god is giving her power. So maybe you thought she would just be wielding the totem and the god would be doing all of this stuff for her, and she's like just wielding it, maybe throwing it around every now and then. But from the concept art and from just reading some of the description, it was kind of clear that she's not a puppet character. She's not throwing this around and it's doing the stuff for her. She's doing the most of the physical attacks, and the god is just like maybe amplifying some of her abilities a little bit. I always shouldn't feel like she is ordering around her being. She shouldn't feel like she is ordering around her god. She can control the tentacles from her totem. However, any independently spawned tentacle should feel like gifts, not privileges. Illaoi doesn't get to spam these without earning them. I wonder what they mean by not earning, without earning them. Not a zoner. Illaoi doesn't want to keep away the opponent with tentacle hits. She wants to create openings to allow her to leap in and deal damage herself. So yeah, she's not a zoner. She's not a puppet character. She's a straightforward, look like bruiser that's gonna try to create openings for herself and go in and do big damage. When it comes to what archetype I use to describe Illaoi, it would probably be big body juggernaut, or a big body powerhouse, basically. An overwhelming battering ram who has the power of a god behind her. Illaoi is a heavy hitter who dominates when it's her time in the mid-range, when it's her turn in the mid-range, and destroys her enemies with immense pressure. So she's more mid-range focused, not long-range focused. I'm assuming she also has some, being a juggernaut, big body juggernaut, I'm assuming she has some good close range attacks too. But mid-range is, from what they're saying, sounds like where she's going to excel at the most. While it was fun to play, this type of design may always feel more like a puppet master. What they're talking about right here. When we felt confident about the goals and the guide rails, or guardrails, I should say, we started to design and implement an early prototype special in Nomos. The first version focused around her ability to spawn tentacles at different ranges: a close tentacle with fast startup, mid-range tentacle, medium, and a long range with a long startup. While it was fun to play, this type of design may always feel more like Puppet Master or Zoner. Yeah, I was about to say, with the way that sounded right there, that didn't sound like she was going in and doing damage. That sound like she's able to target specific ranges and zone you out, because she's gonna knock you back after that tentacle hits. Things that went against her goals and guardrails. It felt like the damage was focused on the guy using tentacles from the ground, when what we really wanted to highlight was bonking. Why did they say Illaoi bonking people with the totem? I mean, I got the mental image in my head now. If I do decide to play this character, I definitely got to throw some bonk sound effects when she smacks you with the totem. But I get what they're saying. It wasn't staying true to their core design for the character, even though the early stuff that they did for her might have felt fun to do. It wasn't going true to what they wanted for the character, so they changed it up. And basically, what's next? Project L is in active development, and Illaoi is still pretty early on, so we got more work to do. But we'll check back in later on in her progress with devs from areas like animation, visual effects, and audio to see how everyone's favorite big body spirit tentacle using Juggernaut is shaping up. As for how we're doing overall, look out for another update from Tom before the end of the year. And until then, let us know what you think. Yeah, I was going to say in my reaction, they said that they'd be coming at us by the end of the year with at least one more. Because they did mention Evo, but they just were saying they hope everybody has fun. Because I thought they were initially saying we're going to have something for you visually at Evo, and then we'll show it off again. Because, you know, this game is still really early in development. So I'm not looking for any like big trailers to hype it up yet. We don't even have a release window for this game yet, so that stuff won't be coming until we get a lot more, you know, we get a lot more stuff in. Because as of right now, they've showed off a little bit of gameplay, but you still see that they're still coming up with the character designs and showing off concept art for characters. That's not normally something you do when you're close to coming out for the full game, unless you had all this stuff ready with gameplay to go along with it. So this character is obviously still very early on, like they said, and they're still haven't fully finished all her animations, visual effects, and audio yet, which is why we only saw pictures of her. They ain't got none of that other stuff ready. But that's not a knock on them in any way, shape, or form. Take your time and put out the best game that you can do possibly, or that you have the access to do. I always fuck with that philosophy. But alright, I'll see y'all in the next video. This was fun reading this and basically seeing the devs point of view on it, because you don't always see stuff like this. And I know that other games do stuff like this where they show you like the behind the scenes of how they came up with a character, but I'm not always looking at these. I might hear stories about it but never look at it. But alright, I'll see y'all in the next video. Like, subscribe if you're new and want to see more about Project L. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.